y'all, and welcome back. Or if you're new around here, hello and welcome. My name is Katie Marie, and today I'm doing one of my favorite videos when it comes to makeup type of videos, and that is because we are doing a Palettte Palooza countdown review. Now, I did these a couple years ago. I've been doing them for a couple years, but last year was just chaotic and just, you know, very busy for me, and so I just kind of got off of doing them because they usually, the way I prefer to do them, it's very time consuming to edit, so I didn't really do many of them last year. But I found a way, and I think I've posted 1 or 2 videos like this where I can do it and still give you guys the same type of content, but it's not quite as time consuming to edit. And I say quite as because it's still a little bit, but anyway, it's where instead of just, you know, doing my makeup and then sitting back there and just talking about the palette and reviewing it for you guys, I'm going to actually do my makeup with the palettes. I'm only going to do 5 because that also makes it shorter. I used to do 10 palettes at a time. I'm only going to do 5. I'm going to rank them from my least to my favorite. But as we talk about the palettes, I'm going to go and go through and not grab a palette. I'm going to go through and review the palette as I use that shade. And I have 5 palettes that I'm going to review. So 5 shadows from each of the palettes that I will use on my eyes, and we'll just create something fun. So as I yammer on and on, let's just go ahead and dive in because I'm going to waste all my 30 minutes on the intro. So for today's video, I have 5 palettes to go through. You guys saw from the title, I'm going to start with, or saw from the thumbnail, I should say, all the different palettes that we are reviewing. Let me go ahead and use a bit of this. This is Glamlight's, what do you call? Eyeshadow primer. I have a little bit of pink on my lid from the look I wore yesterday. So it's just staining and not a big deal. I really don't care, but it's going to get all covered up. But let me just tap this over and we can dive right in. And I'm going to start, I think I already mentioned this, but if I didn't, I'm going to start with the number 5 palette and we'll work our way all the way up to the number 1 palette. And how I chose these, because I have like, all right, battery failed. That's the bad one. I thought that was the good one, but it just stopped 5 minutes in. That's the bad one. I really do need to just get a new one. But anyway, moving on, I have 5 palettes, and the way I chose these is these are the last 5 that I felt like I reviewed or I tried them enough during 2023 in order for me to be able to give you guys my review. So I've you know, created enough looks with them, and these are all palettes that I did the majority of those looks, or pretty much all of them, because I think only one of them I tried recently since 2024 started, but I tried them in 2023. So I want to give you guys my official review because I am still going to do a ranking all the palettes I tried in 2023, because I know we're getting into like March of 2024, but I still want to do it. So I'm planning to do it. I was pulling everything out, looking over what I tried last year, which was surprisingly a lot considering I felt like I didn't try anything. I did still try a good bit, I feel like, for me. So I want to do that, but before I can rank them, I do want to like follow through and give you guys the review. So these are the last 5 that I didn't actually include in a Palettte Palooza or in its own dedicated review video, and that's what we are going through today. So enough chatter, let's go ahead and dive in. I forget if I mentioned it and it was after the battery died, but I used the Glamlight eyeshadow primer, and the number 5 palette is the Ego Sakura. I'm sorry if I butchered that. The Sakura I just tripped over my words. This palette from Ego, I'm sorry, I also have to burp, maybe that's why I tripped over my words, but this beautiful palette is coming in at number 5. And even though I think it is lovely, it's too light. But let me go ahead and decide what I want to use. I think I'm gonna try not to think too much into like what I have coming up, so I'm not like planning my look ahead of time. I'm just gonna look, obviously I'm gonna look, but I'm just gonna go into like a favorite shadow, and I think that's how I'm going to do this. And like looking at this, I kind of just get drawn to this look. I don't even know where I want to put it, but let's just put it in the crease. I feel like that's a good idea. Let me refocus because I did just pull myself a little bit closer. But this palette is just, I'm using Sky, as I said. Actually, let's use a pale. It's just the paler version, and I'm going to go all in the crease. So apparently we're going green on the outer corner. Should we do that? That's what we're doing. Pale, I'm tapping in, and it's a decent palette. It's not terrible, but that's probably a good reason to try the lighter ones, just so you guys can see how pale it is. Like, as you can see, it still shows up, but it's just very, very light, and it's a little bit lighter than I prefer. All the looks that I got are very, very, like, just soft. They have that soft look about all the colors, which if you like that type of thing, I know a lot of people had mentioned in The last Odin's Eye collection that they launched, Judy's palette, was very soft in the pastels, and I kind of shared it as a con. It wasn't my favorite palette from the collection, that type of thing. And a lot of people said, like, thank you so much for reviewing it, because all of the reasons, like, you don't really like it, that's what I look for in a palette. So if you like those type of very soft, very light palettes, or light colors, pastels, then I think you would like the Sakura palette, this palette right here. It's very pretty color store. I like the combination of colors. I feel if everything was a little bit more heavily saturated, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more, because I really enjoyed the combinations of this type of pastel pink and green with the browns to kind of, you know, spice it up and, you know, use in combination with either the green or the pink or both. It was fun, and the champagnes were beautiful. The shimmers also were nice. They weren't anything crazy. Again, just like the mattes, they were on more of that softer side, but they were nice. I do feel like it's getting a little liney here. I think you guys might be able to see that. Not the best look. It didn't do this when I created looks with this previously. It definitely was very pale and not like super intense, but I don't remember it catching in places. So this might be, again, like a type of palette that's best worked darkest to lightest instead of going lightest to darkest. And I'm someone who typically goes dark to light, but because I didn't want to use the dark tones in here, we're going light to dark. So just something to keep in mind. Not crazy fan of that, but if you work from dark to light, I never noticed that when I was using it. But anyway, for all those reasons, it's just very light, very pale. Wear time was fine though. I honestly didn't have a huge issue with it. It definitely faded, but it was a graceful fade. So like, you know, you see it in the morning, and I tried to pack it on as best as I could. It was still very light. And then by the end of the night, it was pretty light, but overall it's a nice palette. It's nice if you like this type of colors. For me, I don't like how pale it is. So I don't, or like how light and just not pigmented and intense it is. So I can't foresee myself holding on to this for very long. So I don't know. And I think I already told you, but the shimmers, they're nice. I did like the shimmers. They were just soft. So let's move on to number 4. This palette is the What's Up Beauty, what's it called? Dragon's Eye palette. Now my biggest gripe with this is that the cover is amazing. I love this like beautiful oil slick kind of mono or duochrome, whatever, multi-chrome look it has to it. It's beautiful. But then I open it and I'm just like, it's just not as pretty. It's pretty enough. I do like that What's Up Beauty has like really intense mattes, so I'll go ahead and use, what should I use? I could use the dark, I'll just do the dark brown, because I really don't know where we're going with this. I'm going to use Smoke, and I'll be able to show you like how intense it is. It looks just like a nice dark brown, but when you pack it on, it can really like intense, not only dark, but it's very pigmented and smooth. There's no issues with it like you know, having a build up to intensity. I don't know, there's just something very smooth and beautiful with the What's Up Beauty eyeshadow, matte eyeshadows. I love them. And then the shimmers are so reflective and gorgeous. There, I'll just show you one just because I can't help it, but like this is Scales. Like, look at that, so beautiful. They're very pretty. I will say though, they're very messy, because when I put this on my eyes, doesn't matter what type of thing I use underneath it, by the end of the day, I will have that sparkle and shimmer on my face and in my eyebrows, like hidden in my eyebrows that I have to scrub out. They're just so messy. I do not notice any lines or chunks disappearing or getting eaten away or fading out of my eye look, so that's a good thing. But it's just a very messy shadow. Like they're very soft, easy to put on. They glide onto your eye beautifully, but I think that's part of the reason why wear time is just a little, I wouldn't say bad, but just messy for me, is because they are so like soft and creamy of a shimmer that they just slide all over, and you know, the shimmers can fall, or the sparkle falls a bit throughout the day as well, or at least moves a bit throughout the day, because like I will have it up in here easily by the end of the day. It's crazy. So anyway, there's this. I'm probably going to use at least one shade in between here. I have no idea what I'm going to use, because again, I'm not really planning a look. We're just flying by the seat of our pants. I don't think I mentioned in the beginning, but I'm going to use one shade from each of the palettes, and then I can pick and choose going into any palette to finish the look, because it's not uncommon for me to want to use more than 5 shades in a look. Okay, I think I reviewed that one. Nice, I think I did. Nice word time. It's just the color story. That's one thing I wanted to say. I really hope What's Up Beauty, if they're listening, which they're probably not, but like if they're listening, I really hope they take a chance with their next palette, because they do amazing work with their covers. They're always beautiful, and they have really nice formula. Like, yes, I was talking about how messy they are, but I know a lot of people love this formula. A lot of people love that look, and I really like the quality and the formula of their matte. So they have a lot of amazing things going for them, but this is their third palette from them that I've tried, and all of them are this type of color story. I will say that I think this is like as colorful as they've gotten with this shade in there. I don't even think I mentioned that, but they're like multi-chromy, so they're beautiful. But I just hope they take a chance, just a little chance on their next one, and go more colorful, or at least kind of give the more pops of color in here. And I don't know, stay away from the neutrals, because they do the neutral mauve tones in I think all three of them. So let's move on to palette number 3. This is Nomad Cosmetics Ghost Town USA palette, and I don't know what this is called when you can like move it. Let me try to not give you guys a glare, but from one picture to the next, can anybody tell me what that's called? I don't know what it's called, but it's a cool fact. And the palette, if you have not seen, looks like this. Really pretty. If you like grungy tones, this is a beautiful palette. What shall I use? Oh, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take Stagecoach Mary, this shade right here, and we're going to put that between these two. That'll be perfect. Now I got to find the perfect brush for it. Let's see. That might be too... what first? My favorite brush is Dirty, I think, or one of the... Okay, we're going to do this one. I'm over here complaining for no reason. This should do it. Yeah, this should be good. So, anyway... This palette is very pretty. I feel like it's a touch, like it's one of those palettes where I enjoy using for a little while, but I don't think like I'm so grungy that this is my type of color story, that type of thing. So it's one of those palettes where I really did enjoy it, but after so many looks, I was like ready to go to more color, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So the color story wise, I really enjoyed it when I wanted that grunge. Like, oh my goodness, the grunge it can give you is beautiful. The mattes, I think I say it all the time, but Nomad's mattes are amazing, stunning, beautiful. They blend really well. They just beautiful. I'm gonna go back into the first matte from Sakura palette and just kind of blend it a little bit, because I don't want to go too high with this dark shade. So yeah, the mattes are really, really nice. I do like them, but, and the shimmers are gorgeous as well. So pretty. But I think the biggest reason for me why I put this at number 3 in the middle is simply because I like the color stories of the next two that we'll talk about a little bit more. But when we're talking about quality pigmentation, it's beautiful. I really do like it. So what else do we gotta talk about? The shimmers are stunning. Were they multi-chrome? I always forget. I don't think any of these are multi-chrome, but they are so shiny. Again, with Nomad Cosmetics, slightly have an issue with sometimes they can be a little messy. It really depends on the shadow, because Nomad has a couple different types of formulas that they use in their palettes. So for the most part, I feel like I tend to really enjoy Nomad Cosmetics shimmers. There's just a few that is just like, not my favorite, but for the most part I feel like I typically enjoy their shimmers, unless they're like super soft or like, I guess more of the too messy type of the shimmer, kind of like a toppery shade, aren't my favorite. But even their like simple shimmer shades I do like, because they're just so nice and smooth, and their simple shimmers stay so well that I know people are all about, you know, as much shimmer and shine as you can get on the lid, as much sparkle, which I do like, but at the same time, I just like a good shimmer that stays put and looks really nice on your lid. Like, I'm super content with that as well. So I really like their simple, like good shimmer palette, and I also like their metallics. Like I said, their sparkly shades get a little bit messy, but they are sparkly and pretty, so can't be too mad about that. I am getting, I don't know if you guys can notice, a little bit of issues over here with the shadows. I think it's because I work from light to dark. I really honestly don't, so maybe that should be a lesson for me next time not to, because I feel like it just makes it a little bit harder sometimes for shades to work on top of each other. Because, what shade is this? I feel like this one from What's Up Beauty is not wanting to let me blend something between these two, but I think I'm fixing it. But if you were watching me work and thinking it was a little odd or being a little finicky, it was for sure. But again, I'm someone who always works dark to light, so maybe I'm just not very good at my not very good at my techniques for doing light to dark. Maybe I'm being too heavy-handed with it or something like that, because like I said, I always do dark and then work out, and I don't have a problem. And also these are different formulas, but anyway, not making excuses, just explaining that. So anyway, getting back to this palette, I really do like, I really like everything about it. Like I said, if I only had, you know, these three that I've talked about so far, and I don't know what's another palette that I'm just meh about, like an Urban Decay palette and a Tarte palette, like this will be number one, because the quality of this palette really surpasses all of the ones we've talked about so far. And then the color story is really good. I like the matte formula, I like the shimmer formula, but as I said, the only reason I'm kind of putting it in the middle here is because along with liking the formula of the other two, I like the color stories a little bit more. But this is just it's a really fun color story. Another critique I could say is I felt like it was a tad repetitive in a couple instances, almost like you could take off at least 3, if not 4, and you wouldn't notice at least 3. Because like these two, yes, they're different. They have little shifty differences to them, but they're very similar. These two, yes, they're different, but they're really close. These two, yeah, they're different, but they're really close. Even these two, when you guys know me, I love my greens. But even these two, it was like, I would have liked a little bit more of a difference. So I think that might have also been the issue where I feel like I could get a couple looks, but then I was ready to put it away and grab something else because I felt like my looks were getting a little too similar. So that is another little critique on this palette, but not to take away from it, just to say that like it could have been, I wish there were more differences, like more drastic difference between these two, more drastic of a difference between these, that type of thing. But again, that is very much nitpicking, because I'm sure other people will look at that and think it's totally fine. So let's move on to number 2. The second palette that we're going to talk about in this countdown is Simply Posh Cosmetics Cozy Cabin. This came out in the holidays, so this was towards the end of the year. But oh my goodness, did I have a lot of fun with this palette. It was delightful. What should I use? I want to go in, I do want to use this orange. This orange is so bright. When I open this palette every time, it's just like orange. It's just so eye-catching. So should we do it? Yeah, let's do it. You know what? Let's do it. I want to use that orange, so we're going to use that bright orange. But if you are new to Simply Posh Cosmetics, I am a huge fan of their formulas, like for matte and shimmer in general. It is lovely. Their mattes are very powdery, not too like crazy in the kick up department, but they're very soft, very pigmented, very powdery. A little goes a long way. It's very easy to work with them, and I mean, a little bit packs a pretty big punch, as you can see. They're delightful. They blend beautifully into each other. I like that they tend, Simply Posh Cosmetics as a brand tends to give you like different shades of or different hues of the same shade, so that blending can be really easy. I appreciate that about it. So like with this shadow, if it's getting a little bit like, oh, I'm taking it a little bit too crazy, I can go up there and get a lighter, it's more of like a beige, but lighter peachy beige tone, and soften out the edges and kind of bring it back down. So I like that as a brand as a whole. But with this palette specifically, this is just a fun color story for winter, for Christmas holidays. I don't know, something about it. I just had a great time with this. It was so much fun. And what else? The shimmers were beautiful as well. Like, the shimmers are so pretty. I like how soft they are. Some of them can take a little bit to pick up with a brush, but if you're someone who uses your finger, I really don't think you're gonna even notice that they're hard to pick up, because finger is definitely the easiest way with their formula, with the shimmers, easiest way to get them to, you know, go on the lid super effortlessly. So if you're a finger, you know, applicator type of person, this is a great formula for you, just because it's so effortless. But even with taking a little bit more time to put on the shimmers and whatnot, I still feel like they are absolutely worth, you know, the extra couple minutes of getting them to transfer from a brush onto your lid, because they're just stunning. They have so much sparkle to them. Let me go ahead and just show you guys with Festive. Look at that. Like, it's almost gives you the idea that it's like translucent, not translucent, iridescent. Almost like it doesn't have a lot of pigment to it, but then as you move it around, it's like, oh wow, you have a lot of pigment, but you have all this like shifty color. It's beautiful. It looks wet on your eyelid. It's very pretty. It's one of those colors that's a wee bit messy. Not as messy as I feel like some of the ones, like What's Up Beauty is still, I think, the messiest out of this collection. Or not collection, but this video. The palettes I am mentioning definitely, I think, is the messiest. But it's just lovely. Absolutely lovely. And wear time for this palette, I am super super happy with the wear time. I feel like all of the looks that I created lasted beautifully on me. Even a couple times when I created looks, I worked outside afterwards and whatnot. Yes, they did, if I really sweat, fade a little bit. When it came to mostly, I feel like the outer edges, just because when I'm outside sweating, I do a lot of like swiping my brow and whatnot, so I'm pretty sure I just swiped it away. But overall, still looks nice and doesn't look like running down your face type appearance. I don't ever have lines running down my face with any of the palettes. I think I've tried. But, you know, I don't have a ton of glitter fallout from just the sweat taking it all away. I can usually put it on, and by the end of the day, it looks a little bit like maybe softened because it's kind of broken up from the sweat. But still, as a whole, you still see the shine, you still see the color. It's just maybe a little bit more of like an iridescent color instead of being as intense. So there's that shade. And honestly, I don't know if it's because I put it next to the greens or whatnot, but it looks more red. Or maybe it's just my eyes right now, because I feel like in camera it actually looks more orange. I don't know, you have to tell me. Did this come out, the inner corner come out looking more orange or more red? You'll have to let me know. Here it is. It also could be, yeah, probably my eyes too, because my skin tone, I think I have more warm tone. I always forget, but it's like a warm olivey undertone, so I wonder if that also affects, I mean, of course it does, but I wonder if that affected, and that's why this look is, or this color specifically, is turning out a little more red on my eyes. Okay, anything else I want to talk about with this palette, besides the fact that it was just a lovely, unique type of Christmas release. I really did like that. Kind of gave me like vibes for Odin's Eye. I feel like Odin's Eye, the year before last, they did a great job bringing something unique and different to the market for the Christmas holiday, and this one I just felt like was definitely that just unique, something different. It still, I feel like, screams, maybe not screams, but I still feel like it gives you that winter-esque feel when you look at it, especially as you're creating looks. It's just beautiful, but it's just different, a little bit unique. It's not like a red and green type of palette. It's got kind of like a cabin-themed winter palette that I just really enjoyed, and I thought it was lovely. Very happy, never had any issues blending the shadows together, any issues with, you know, mixing and matching and whatnot and getting a soft diffuse blend. Very happy with this, so it had to come in high because I just love unique color stories. I love unique looks, and it was very easy to get that with this palette. And then we're gonna go on to the number one. Should we just put the number one all over my lid maybe? We'll see. This is the DeDe Signature, the Classic Autumn Eyeshadow Palette. This palette, I had so much fun, and I know for sure there was a couple days I used this and I did not get pictures. So however many pictures you see in this video, I used it at least 2 times more than that, maybe more. But I can remember 2 looks that I kicked myself because I ran out the door and I forgot to take a picture before I did. But like, look at this. Love, you guys know I love autumn tones, so already seeing this compared to everything else, it kind of moved up in the ranking because I love an autumn themed palette. But then on top of that, the quality, oh my goodness, I kind of want to use both. Let's do it, both the mattes and the shimmer in here. We'll do a shimmer all over my lid. What should we do? I love this apricots and fig and squash. I mean, all of them are lovely. I would say, what is it? Mushroom. Is it the only one? Mushroom and maybe, what was the other one that was a little crumbly? Mushroom is definitely more crumbly. Star apple was a, is it duochrome? I think it's just a duochrome because it's like pinky gold. Oh, it's so beautiful. But mushroom was definitely a little crumbly, which I think you can see. So one of those kind of more, how do you call it? Like chunky flaky type of shadows. So not my favorite because chunky flaky just makes a mess when I do it. But these 3 were definitely my favorite colors. Like figs was so red, so beautiful. I loved it. But should I do shimmer first or should I finish it up? This black is so intense. It's amazing. Let's go ahead and do this kiwi on the outer edge. Yeah, we'll do kiwi on the outer edge. And real quick, because the mattes are lovely as well. Like, I literally feel like, I guess I have something I'm about to say. I don't think I have anything bad to say about this palette, but I do because I don't love mushroom and how messy it is. But for the most part, this is a palette, like, look how intense that is. Okay, got interrupted there. My daughter got a paper cut during quiet time, so she's okay now. Let's move on. I'm just putting a little bit of brown to kind of connect that around, but like, look how intense that green is. And I went in like super carefully. Another, I guess you could say slight con is that because they're so dark and rich and like seriously so pigmented, you can not struggle, but it can take more time to blend out looks because you don't have a ton of light shades to pair with it to make blending easy. But with that said, all of these, like even the darkest green, if you spend long enough, I mean, you have this shade to help it, so maybe that's not the best example, but like this darkest red, I used that on the outer corner one day and I just spent a little bit longer using that one shade to blend out completely from darkest to light, and it was beautiful. So you might have to spend a touch bit more time on that, but still they're so intense. So let's move on now and do the shimmer, because I kind of want to use, I want to use apricot and figs because they're my favorite colors, but I'm pretty sure I probably did that. Let's use apricot. How do you say that word, or that fruit? I feel like anytime I say it, there's a fight inside my head right before I say it, and then I end up saying it differently every time because I'm like, apricot, which is it? Apricot sounds wrong, but apricot, it's probably apricot, because apricot does sound kind of like wrong. So that hence why I said apricot, because if I have a fight inside my head, I always end up with the wrong one. So it's probably apricot, but let me know. Maybe it's one of those fruits that like changes up depending on where you are in the country. Let me know. But we're gonna use this. We're going to use, that's what I really want to use, but I think I'm gonna use the figs on the outer edge because it'll really tie in with the inner kind of reddish orange going on there. And then for the inner half, maybe I just do squash since I have, maybe I'll do star apple. But that might not be different enough since it's red. Yeah, that's gonna be like too similar. We'll use, no, maybe I won't use star apple. I should give some love to the other palettes for the inner corner. But let's do squash. I just like squash, or we could do dragon fruit. That's pretty, the silver. But I want to do squash and figs. After 5 minutes of going around in circles, I'm just gonna do this, and hopefully it turns out okay. I really should go back and look before sitting down so I know what I did, because the figs and apricot, I'm pretty sure I did that combination already, because anytime I open this palette, I'm like, I want to put those two together, but I don't want to be boring, so that's why I'm like, let's try something different. But watch, I probably use squash and figs as well. But here's the green. Oh my goodness, just the tiniest little bit. It's like liquid metal, like metallic, just smoothness that is absolutely beautiful. I seriously cannot say enough good things about this palette, and just how beautifully not only the color story is. If you like autumn, this is the palette for you, but it's a gorgeous color story. But like also like look how easy, like pigmented, smooth, thick looking. I know thick looking is a weird way of describing an eyeshadow, but like it's just so nice. And you know, it's not what do you call it? It's not like a subtle sparkle. It's got tons of sparkle. It's not like a iridescent see-through shadow. It's got tons of pigment to it, and it's when you use it and put it on, it just looks like liquid, like metallic, you know, gorgeousness on your eyes. Seriously, so pretty. I am so glad that DeDe Signatures is back. I think she came back summer of last year, midway through the year. I honestly can't remember, and I did like a little happy dance when I read that, because I was like, yes, I love not only her formula of her mattes and shimmers, but she just did something special when it came to color stories as well. Now obviously this is more of a typical color story, I suppose you could say, because it is an autumn theme, but still, like if you've never heard of the brand, definitely check her out. She's got some fun, different, unique type of color stories on her website. I really do like them, and I'm a huge fan of the brand. So with that on there, now we're gonna go to what I say, figs. Giving the most love to this palette. I'm gonna go back to do blend out the lower lash line and do the inner corner with the other palettes to spread the love. Like look how beautiful that is. That's a gorgeous red metallic. It's so beautiful. And I think one of the things I just love about this palette is that they stay really nicely. Like yes, it's got sparkle, but it doesn't have a ton of that super sparkliness to some of the shadows. Like some of them, yes, do, like, you know, mushroom, star apple, and dragon fruit maybe, but these two definitely have a lot of sparkle in them. There's still sparkle in these two, but they're a little bit more heavy on the metallicness to them, and that just makes them so nice to wear because they stay put. You don't have to worry about sparkle falling everywhere, but they're still beautiful. Like this is a look that will look like this when I wash my face off at night, and I love that about a palette. I think that's fantastic when I can create a look, go about my day, and then I go to wash it off and I'm like, whoa, it looks like I did it when I did it this morning. It's always exciting to me for whatever reason. Maybe that's weird to get excited for that, but I love to like know that about a palette, that when I put it on, I don't have to worry. I can go about my day, and when I look at it at the end of the night, I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I look like that the rest of the day. It just always looks good, and I like that. Let's go back to squash. Marry the two, because I am a rebel when it comes to color theory, and I'm always trying to force shades that don't belong next to each other to be next to each other. Because that's what I like to do, because I don't think I had it all. I just see pretty colors and I'm like, that should look cool on the lid. Ah, that's pretty good. What are you gonna do? I think it looks good. Okay, so we have that going. Let me do a touch bit more, because that's what I always do when I think I'm done. I go a little bit more. Gonna flip back to the red, and I'm actually gonna bring the red over a touch, because I'm also going to take the brown and go back over the brown matte. If anything, I feel like with these shadows, they can be a little bit thick, so I do feel like if you're going to do this and you don't want like that harsh line, it is necessary to go over it with the matte you use there to kind of buff it out. I guess not rough it out, but buff it out. I do that pretty much any look that I'd create, unless I'm in a hurry and or forget, or both. But this is what I mean by rough it out. Just take that shade that you used on your outer edge and just tap it over that line for the shimmers, because they're just so pigmented and so smooth, and I don't know, maybe they're just a thicker type of formula that it definitely will leave a line if you don't kind of give it this little bit of TLC here. And I like as effortless and like ombre-ish, transition-y, like a smooth transition as I can get. So I like to take the time to do this. But I suppose if you don't care, you don't have to do it. But that's just something I do that I do feel like it's a little bit necessary. I stopped recording and it's about to die again, but I'm gonna keep going because this is my good battery. So we're gonna let this thing die before I change it. Anyway, it stopped recording on me because I've been recording so long. But I was just saying that it was a no-brainer for me when I had these 5 palettes and I was trying to think like, which one will be number 1? It was going to be the DeDe Signatures, the Classic Autumn palette, because Classic Autumn, yes, it is definitely just a classic autumny color, or autumny color story, and just the formula is just so good. Like, I just can't say enough good things. So let's finish this up. I am going to take, what should I take? This brush is a little bit big, but it'll work. Let's go into this palette. This is the So Cozy. And let's grab this shade. It's kind of similar to what I use on my outer corner, but it's just different. So we're gonna use this without the cat hair, and I'm going to put it right under here. I really do like how Simply Posh Cosmetics does pigmented pastels. I like that. That I can just, oh, I think I tapped into the wrong one. I'm going into this one. I think I originally said the one next to it. I don't know. That's the one I'm going into though, because it's looking different than up here. Oopsie, whatever. But anyway, I like how pigmented their pigmented pastels are, and how effortlessly they blend into other shades. I just feel like they're the type of pastels that I like. They pack a little bit more of a punch. They're easier to build up to intensity if I want it more intense, or to just use as that really light fluff of color, or like to help ombre out another color. Yeah, I definitely should have used the other one. Oh well. Oh well. But that is the difference, I feel like, between the Sakura palette and this one. Is just that the Sakura palette, like, I would spend so long building it up, but I feel like it just never really got that, and it's just something that I like. I feel like this was just so effortless for me to get that blend with the pastels, and up here I spent a lot of time and I've been going back over it to build it up. So that's just why Simply Posh Cosmetics just does their pastels really nice. I have a ton of shimmer fallout on my, I mean, not a ton, very fine type of shimmer fallout underneath my eyes from that. So I definitely think, you know, do your eye makeup before your face, which is typically what I do unless I'm doing a video like that. But like, what do you guys think? I feel like I have I can't talk. I feel like I have two very different eye looks going on. Like, my crease work is one vibe with the red and blue, and then my lid work is another vibe with the autumny tones. Does it go? Maybe not, but that's what we did. For my inner corner, I need to use another shadow. Let's go back into, should I do Ghost Town? Let's do Ghost Town, and I want to do Tombstone. This is a really pretty inner corner highlight. So I'm going to switch this over, and let's dab this, and this is going to be the look. Now, in this video, I am not going to be, editing, I'm not going to be editing in the final look. Or actually, I am. Let's just do it. I'm going to go ahead and edit the final look in here. So I'm going to go, edit means I'm going to just stop recording and finish out my look. But I'm going to go ahead and do that because I'm going to do it anyway for pictures, and the flash is just flashing, or the battery's flashing at me, telling me it's going to die. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to finish my look, let it charge, and then that way I can finish up the video without feeling like I'm rushing the ending. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. All right, so we're back. I've got a fairly decently charged battery, so I should be able to finish this. This is the final look. Here's what it looks like, can I speak, with liner and mascara on, and I think it's a fun look. It's definitely unique and different. I know a lot of people probably look at this and be like, the color combo, but hey, that's what I was going for, doing a not palette bingo, but using multiple palettes to create one look. I always like doing that because, again, it comes up with interesting color combinations, and it's just fun to get to kind of hop between different palettes as I'm talking about them. So I hope you guys enjoy this kind of different take for my palette bingos, because it's the only way I can do palette bingos, and I like to have use multiple palettes in a look to create something fun and different, and yeah, that is going to be the video. So really quick, just to recap, I got lipstick on my teeth. How come no one told me? That's okay. It's a new Juvia's Place lip gloss in Cis with an explanation point. One of my favorite colors. But anyway, Sakura Alter Ego palette came in at number 5. The What's Up Beauty Dragon's Eye palette came in at number 4. Then I had the Ghost Town USA from Nomad at number 3. The Cozy Cabin palette from Simply Posh Cosmetics at number 4. And then number 5, the DeDe Signatures, the Classic Autumn palette. And when it comes to these, I think I have I know I have an affiliate code with a DeDe Signatures, which is Lady Katie. I don't think I have any with these. If I did, it would be Lady Katie. I definitely know I don't have it with these. I can't remember. Nomad is no longer, and I don't think I no longer have a code with Nomad, but I don't think I have one with Simply Posh. I'm so bad at remembering, but I do have one with DeDe Signature if you're interested in that. And yeah, that is going to be the final look, the final result of my Palettte Palooza countdown review video. But that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm LadyKaty92 over there. And with all that said, that's going to do it for me. See you guys very soon in my next video. Bye guys.